You might be surprised to know currently in Australia, there are about 800,000 job vacancies are available under different sectors. So this new particular rule is specifically focused on how they can able to get quality workforce on this particular 8 lakh jobs, so that the foreign workers will be able to come and fill these jobs and contribute to Australia and to its economy. Hello viewers, Happy New Year. And there is a new year is here. We also have a very new rules for Australian migration. This has been announced about a couple of weeks before, and still we get little more clarity. A lot of people asking that how this is going to impact you as an individual. Either you are a student, or you are applying for a work permit visa, or you intend to migrate to Australia. That's what we're going to see quickly, that the key points, how it will affect your opportunity to apply as a potential migrant to Australia. Let's get into the video and see what are those changes are. I can see this is affecting 3 major areas. Obviously, it is for students as well as for potential work permit visa holders who wants to go to Australia. Also, the migrants who wants to permanent migration into Australia. Now, if you look at these 3 categories, the first category as being a student, it's not going to affect you much because they just increase the required English language. Previously, if it was 6 was the requirement, now the requirement is about 6.5. They marginally increase the English requirements. So it's not going to affect you much. Also, that one area, if at all, if you're looking at, there is a change. The post-study work visa, the PSW, after completing your graduation, they reduce the duration of your visa, which is also very marginal. If it is 3 years, it's been brought down to 2 years. So there's not going to be much different in that. But if you are a student who have a future plans who wants to migrate to Australia, then this visa changes might affect you a bit, because you have to be very carefully selecting the program and the pathway so that the future of your migration process would be much easier. Number 2 is in the work permit visa sector. If you are a potential candidate and you're looking for an employment in Australia, you need to secure the work permit visa. Currently, it is called the 482 subclass work permit visa, which will be given from 2 to 4 years. The government is intended to remove the 482 subclass work permit visa altogether, and they're going to introduce into 3 different categories, which is called the 3-tier visa system. Those are the specialist skills, the core skills, and the essential skills. You need to see that what trade or profession you belong to comes under which category of this 3-tier. That is the key, and that is very important. Tier 1 specialist skills pathway. For this particular pathway, there's no occupation list is applicable. However, any trade workers or machine operators or any odd job laborers are excluded from this particular category. This particular category requires a guaranteed annual earning of at least $135,000, which will be indexed annually. Because this is a very specialist category and the government wants to give a lot of priority to this particular category, they intend to process the visa within 7 working days. Under this category, there will be only 3,000 visas will be issued per year. Number 2 is the core skills pathway. In this core skills pathway, the government is bringing in the majority of the trades and majority of the skills and majority of the professions under this particular category. This pathway, it is getting regularly updated core skills occupation list managed by Jobs and Skills Australia. In this particular category, the visas are expected to processed in 21 days time. This pathway requires a minimum annual wages of $70,000. As you are aware, recently the government has increased the minimum wages from $54,000 to $70,000. So therefore, many of this category of trade and professional people coming under this particular, the middle range core skill pathway visa. Number 3 is the essential skills pathway. This is a particular visa section is yet to be finalized, because we are still expecting little more clarity from the government, because we are not sure that what are the category of people coming under this particular list. The reason being is the requirement for the annual income is going to be less than $70,000. In my view, number of odd jobs might come under this particular category because the salary requirement is less than $70,000. But if you look at in recent times, the 482 visas, in my experience, is coming less than 2 weeks. So this is not going to affect much, because already the visas are processed much faster these days. And another major change which has happened is the employer is no longer to advertise in the Workforce Australia website as a labor market testing advertisement. So that will be a big change, because now that process takes about 28 days time. So the new visa regime doesn't need it as a mandatory requirement. So this might save your visa processing probably up to 4 weeks. Now there's another change is that currently your labor market testing from the employer point of view is valid for 4 months. That has been increased to up to 6 months now. And another major change happened on the change of employer for the 482 subclass visa holders are currently you have to find an employer within 2 months, 60 days. Now it has been increased to 6 months, about 180 days. So for example, if you want to move from one employer to the other employer, now you have 6 months time to find another employer. So that is basically taken with the very specific interest of the candidates who are currently working in Australia under 482, or you intend to go on 482 and then you want to change your employer for various reasons. But coming to the migration category, the government is intent to reduce the overall number of candidates who are coming to Australia under the permanent migration scheme. But the government is not going to look at immediate as a step, but they're going to do that in a phased manner. For an example, between 23-24 and 24-25, overall the number of migration is going to be reduced, but we need to get a lot more clarity in the coming days. If you keep watch this space, we're going to come back to you how this particular new rules is going to affect your chances to get either a student visa or get a work permit visa, or even applying as a permanent resident to Australia. We look forward to see you in the next video with a lot more information.